We're reaching for the stars. We're making this to art. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious. That's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious. That's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. So stick around. So stick around. Leave the world around us. They don't need to know. Come find me where the sun sets and say you'll never let me go. You're the one I want. Say you need me. Hide away right now. Don't let go. I know you feel the same. Say you need me. 'Cause you'll always be my broken love. Broken love. You'll always be my broken love. 'Cause you'll always be my broken love. You're so you'll always be my broken love. They don't know how we love when we're lying close. With you I know I belong. Without all eyes on us, you're the one I want. Say you need me, hide away our love. Don't let go, I know you feel the same. Say you need me, 'cause you'll always be my broken love. Broken love. Cause you'll always be my broken love. Cause you'll always be my broken love. You'll always be my broken love. We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost. We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. We're dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. You search but you stay lost. We are reaching for the stars. We're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. again. So stick around. So stick around. Leave the world around us. They don't need to know. Come find me where the sun sets and say you'll never let me go. You're the one I want. Say you need me. Hide away right now. Don't let go. I know you feel the same. Say you need me. 'Cause you'll always be my broken love. Broken love. Cause you'll always be my broken love. Cause you'll always be my broken love. You're so don't let it go. I know you feel cause you'll always be my broken love. They don't know how we love when we're letting close. With you I know I belong. Without all eyes on us, you're the one I want. Say you need me. Hide away right now. Don't let go. I know you feel the same. Say you need me. 'Cause you'll always be my broken love. Broken love. Broken love. Broken love. 'Cause you'll always be my broken love. Cause you'll always be my broken love. You're so don't let it go. I know you feel cause you'll always be my broken love. We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost. We are reaching reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show, 'cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show, 'cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. We're dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. You search but you stay lost. Search but you stay lost. We're reaching for the stars. We're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show, 'cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show, 'cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Again. So stick around. So stick around. leave the world around us. They don't need to know. Come find me where the sun sets and say you'll never let me go. You're the one I want. Say you need me. Hide away now. Don't let go. I know you feel the same. Say you need me. 'Cause you'll always be my broken love. Broken love. Broken love. Broken love. 'Cause you'll always be my broken love. Cause you'll always be my broken love. You're so don't let go. I know you feel cause you'll always be my broken love. They don't know how we love when we're lying close. With you, I know I belong. Without all eyes on us, you're the one I want. Say you need me. Hide away now. Don't let go. I know you feel the same. Say you need me. 'Cause you'll always be my broken love. Broken love. Cause you'll always be my broken love. Cause you'll always be my broken love. Yo, what's happening, guys? What's up? What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? You guys having a good day today? I sure hope so. Fairy Meadows, thank you for becoming a new member. Miss Slim Jim gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Canadian Nana, member for 7 months. Light them if you got them. That's right. Smoke them if you got them. Ella, thank you for being a member for 4 months. And Heather B. Beachy gifted 10 memberships. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys showing love. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. There's a lot going on. So I didn't know if you guys had already seen this interview that Derrick did. He actually works really close with Stephanie Harlow. Most of y'all know who Stephanie Harlow is in here. And then, of course, there is there's all kinds of stuff going on with the CEO that was shot down, gunned down, whatever. So we're going to talk about that too and go over a little bit of that. Hope y'all are having a good day today. Let's get this party started here. You guys want to go over Derrick's interview or you want to do the CEO first? He won Big Brother. He's a cutie too. He's really nice. Him and Stephanie do really good work, actually. They do very good work. He's almost he's almost at 100,000 subs. So they have a podcast called Crime Weekly. Yeah, like I said, he's pretty good at what he does. I mean, him and Stephanie, they do a really good job together, actually. All right, we'll get this party started. I know Miss Toasty usually comes on, so she'll probably be on here after a bit, and then we'll jump off when she gets on. Hold on, Grandma CC, hey Queen. Did I miss an earlier video with you and Roro breaking down JJ's monkey drop? No, we haven't done that yet. We will. We just haven't got around to it yet. We'll get there though.
Alrighty, we'll get this party started. So, anyways, I will drop the link in the chat as well. So if y'all want to go watch it without stopping, you know what I mean, without commentary and stuff, you're more than welcome to go watch it yourself or watch it later without commentary. Here we go.
Son, Sebastian, 2024, Katie Proudfoot went to wake up her 15-year-old son, Sebastian Rogers, for school. But when she entered his room, his bed was empty. She searched the rest of the house for him, but he was nowhere to be found. Katie called the police, and a large-scale search began immediately. As hours turned into days, the search intensified, with hundreds of people combing the area near the family's home in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Despite these efforts, no trace of Sebastian has ever been found. It's been 9 months since Sebastian vanished, and investigators are still searching for him. Format. I'll then give you my organizations connected to the case so that if you have any tips, you can contact them directly and maybe you can help solve a case. So if you're someone who's interested in true crime, specifically unsolved cases, and you would like to hear my opinion on those investigations, please consider subscribing, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever platform you use. Okay, so Sebastian Rogers. Some of you may know this case. A few of you recommended that I cover it. So here I am. And I want to tell you right from the jump that Haley did the research on this. And when she gave me the script, I started researching it. And she told me right up front that there's been a lot of misreporting, a lot of drama, a lot of rumors surrounding this case. So I'm going to do my best just to focus on the facts and keep my number one priority for all these cases in mind, which is to cover the case, expose it to people who may not know about it yet. And if there's something that's said during my episode that triggers someone, or maybe they think of something that could be of value, they have the information to contact the right people, because we want to solve these cases. And if we're not talking about them, then the chances of that decrease. And as you will see with a lot of the cases that I cover, by the time I get to them, the media coverage on these particular investigations has subsided. And also, I try to incentivize people to come forward by letting them know when there's rewards. And I will tell you, in this case, there's a large reward, a lot of money. So if it's not enough to just do the right thing, maybe there's someone out there who's financially incentivized. And if that's the case, I don't really care what it takes. As long as we bring Sebastian home, that's all that counts. So like I said, I'm going to stick to the facts as I know them. Law enforcement has been very tight-lipped about this case. So we're going to go over everything we can. There's a really interesting video to break down. I'll give my final thoughts at the end, and we'll see if anybody comes forward. So with that all out of the way, let's dive into this week's case. Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers was born on December 7th, 2008 to
Y'all still here? Okay, just making sure.
parents Katie and Seth. Now, Katie and Seth didn't stay together, and Katie later married Chris Proudfoot. And for the most part, Sebastian lived with his mom and stepdad in the Stafford Court neighborhood in Hendersonville, Tennessee, a town just outside of Nashville. He also maintained a relationship with his father, who lived about an hour away in Clarksville. As a child, Sebastian was diagnosed with autism. A former teacher told News Channel 5, quote, "He is high functioning. He has a great sense of humor. He loves to laugh. He's a jokester. He's super smart." His dad further described him as loving and inquisitive with a big heart. Sebastian had many interests. He loved animals, fishing, dancing, and swimming. He enjoys spending time outdoors, especially on playgrounds. He is also a big fan of Minecraft and is obsessed with the color green. In December of 2023, Sebastian turned 15 years old and spent Christmas break with his father in Clarksville. And by the end of 2024, he was back at his mom's and ready to return to Beach High School, where he was a student.
Well, geez, I didn't even see these here. Fairy Meadows, let's see, got my Golden Bee member for 24 months. That's right. I wondered why it said you were a new member. That was kind of weird, wasn't it? Congratulations on your Golden Beat Fairy Meadows. And Layla gifted 10 memberships. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. If you guys got one, please make sure you tell her thank you. And we're back to it.
At around 6 a.m. on February 26th, Katie went to wake up Sebastian for school and realized he wasn't in his bed. She searched the house but found no signs of him. And it's important to note that the doors were locked and his phone, medication, Nintendo, and all of his shoes were still there. The only thing that seemed to be missing was a flashlight Sebastian, quote, often played with. Katie checked outside but didn't see him, so she called her husband Chris, who was over 3 hours away working in Memphis. Together, they decided to contact the police. According to News Nation, Katie told officers she had last seen Sebastian the night before when he went to bed at 9 p.m. Around an hour later, she heard a thud come from his room, so she called out to him telling him to keep it down, and he responded, and after he responded, she told him to go to sleep. That was the last time she ever talked to her son. Katie explained that she went to bed at midnight and woke up 6 hours later to find him gone. She told police that Sebastian has high-functioning autism and has no history of running away. She described him as a, quote, very smart gamer who is not mischievous by any means. After hearing from Katie, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, also known as the TBI, was contacted and an endangered child alert was issued at 11:17 a.m.
Yeah, he's a former police officer and detective. He's not going to put a lot of speculation into it. He's basically just going through a timeline.
The alert stated that Sebastian was last seen wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, and glasses. News Nation reported that more than 200 searchers were deployed to look for Sebastian. The search included canine units, mounted officers, drones, and helicopters. Chris later told Nancy Grace about these searches, stating, quote, there were 5 dogs that started the scent search, and then after that, there have been dogs from all over the country that have come in and done searches and had scent hits in various locations. A certain percentage of them tend to go to the same spot, which would have been a nearby retention pond. Now, the retention pond was only knee-deep, but it was drained during the search with no evidence of Sebastian being found, which I would say is a good thing. Chris went on to say that tracking dogs also picked up Sebastian's scent around the house, but no cadaver dogs indicated any findings. I do think it's worth noting that most media outlets reported no scent trails for Sebastian were ever discovered, so it's unclear what the truth is here. I'm only reporting what we were able to find, but just to put it out there and be transparent, there are reports out there that say no scents were ever found relating to Sebastian and that it was just dead ends everywhere. Now, Chris obviously has a different opinion, and that's why I wanted to include it, because he was boots on the ground, and I would think that he would know. At 4:35 p.m. on the day Sebastian was reported missing, the TBI sent out a tweet asking residents near Beach High School and along Long Hollow Pike to check their outbuildings, garages, and cars. They feared Sebastian might be using one of these locations as a hiding place. News Nation reported that the urgency of the search was increasing due to colder temperatures expected to move into the area. Authorities were unsure if Sebastian was properly dressed for the weather, which obviously heightened their concerns. The following afternoon at 3:25 p.m., authorities issued an Amber Alert for Sebastian, and officials said that the decision to upgrade the alert was, quote, based on additional investigative information developed during the search. Now,
He said body moving knows. She knows Derrick. I bet she does. She knows everybody. Shit, she knows everybody. You talk about an investigator. She body moving got you. She don't fuck around. She does not fuck around. Little Shoe. Good to see you, Little Shoe. She gifted 10 memberships. If y'all got one, please make sure you tell her thank you. And yeah, hold on, Notorious Ash. What were you saying about the date? What did he get wrong? I'm sorry, it flew past and I didn't see it. What date did he get wrong? Because obviously I didn't catch it. You did. Shit, I'm glad you caught it because I didn't. Yeah, I know, Derrick, one big brother, yeah. I'm waiting on your comment, but Yeah, how refreshing, just stating the facts, offering no opinion. Yeah, okay, hold on. He said by the end of 2024, Sebastian was at home with his mom. Oh yeah, he must have meant, okay. I'm sure he probably meant the date, but yeah, I see why that could. I'm glad y'all caught it because I didn't. Hold on. He also said by the end of 2024 he was back at his mom's, so he probably meant 2023. I mean, we all make mistakes, but he really has no dog in this fight. So yeah, so he meant 2023 instead of 2024. Yeah, it happens. All right, here we go.
Now, I know some of you are going to be questioning why they didn't just issue an Amber Alert right from the start. Well, as I mentioned, they did issue the endangered child alert, which is appropriate because at that point, they don't know if he's just hiding under a car or at a friend's house or behind a shed. But once they start doing that initial search and they realize he's not in the immediate area and nobody has seen him, although they have never come out publicly and said foul play is involved, it now becomes more likely. And those parameters are now met where you feel that this person could have been abducted, and that's why the Amber Alert was issued. And I think it was done relatively fast. So I do get on some agencies for their lack of enthusiasm with getting these alerts out there. But I think here, the way they progressed through the alerts, it's the right call. It's fine with me. I don't have an issue with it. After the Amber Alert was issued, search efforts continued, and the police tried everything they could think of to find Sebastian, even playing his favorite song, Eye of a Tiger, hoping it might draw him out. Investigators also urged residents to check their security and doorbell cameras for any footage of Sebastian, and obviously many people did, but as far as we can tell, there were no confirmed sightings ever reported. By the end of the day, on February 27th, searchers had covered more than 2,000 miles on foot, but there was still no sign of Sebastian anywhere. At this point, Sebastian's family had not spoken to the media, leading to many questions from the public. On February 28th, the TBI issued a statement explaining the family's decision to remain private. The statement read in part, quote, "We have been requested by the family to let local media know that they are not in a position to speak or be available to the media at this time. We, the TBI, have told them that while we would relay their message, it would be the decision of the individual media outlets and reporters to proceed as they see fit." I found this statement very interesting, and I'm interested to hear what you guys think as well, because we've had statements from law enforcement before on behalf of the family, and usually they ask straight up, "We'd like you to respect the privacy of the family during this difficult time." Didn't seem like they were doing that. It seemed more like they were saying, "Hey, listen, we're coming out here. We're just the messenger. We may not necessarily agree with this decision. And ultimately, although we're relaying this message, reporters, journalists, if you want to go after them and you want to pressure them, we can't stop you." Maybe I'm looking too deep into it. Maybe I'm reading too much in between the lines, but I think they could have been a lot more aggressive and to the point with their statement by saying, "Hey, we want you to leave them alone." And although there's nothing legally they can do if journalists decide not to, they can still show a position of authority and highly recommend, highly suggest that the family be left alone, at least for the immediate future. And that's not what I got from this statement. Now, as far as Katie, Chris, and Seth's decision not to speak to the media, I don't really have a problem with it. What are they really supposed to say? They know, if they have half a brain, that the media and people in the community are at least going to entertain the question, could they be responsible for whatever happened to Sebastian? Katie was the last person with him, and we have to remember that the account of her last interaction with Sebastian is from her and can't really be corroborated or confirmed. So we're just going off her word, and you would love to believe the mother of the victim, but we know historically that's not always the case. Sometimes the person telling you the narrative is actually the person responsible. So,
well, and we've seen that in a couple cases, like Dylan Rounds, the guy that had actually shot him and murdered him, and buried him, was the one who was out there looking for him, and one of the very first people to spin a narrative about where he could possibly be or what happened to him. So we know that can be true. Gannon, yep. Same with Leticia, yep. Same with her, yep.
It's an organic and natural question for everyone to have, including investigators. So the only thing that Katie, Chris, and Seth are going to do at this point is say something that can be picked apart or misspeak and say something that is interpreted incorrectly and makes them look more guilty. So I think the best decision at this point is to stay quiet. But I will tell you, they didn't stay quiet for long, and we're going to talk about it right after this break. Notice how the days are getting shorter, but your to-do list aren't. With Factor has smoothie and butter for head detective to get 50% off your artwork. But that didn't last long because initially the family decided not to speak to the media. But that didn't last long because on March 3rd, Katie and Chris spoke to the podcast Duchess about Sebastian's disappearance. And this was their first interview with the media. And in that interview, they explained that Sebastian was, quote, 15 in age and body, but his mind has not caught up with his body. They also shared that Sebastian had no access to social media and that his school friends had already been interviewed by authorities.
And yeah, they did. They did come out and say that he didn't have social media. Actually, Sean did, and it turned out to be a lie. KNS, thank you for gifting 10 memberships. I appreciate you guys showing so much love tonight. Thank you very much. Stevie B gifted 5 memberships. If y'all got some, please make sure you tell the girls thank you.
Katie and Chris added that Sebastian didn't have a sense of money, had never ridden the bus, and didn't like getting dirty. So these are all things you have to think about when you discuss the potential of him running away on his own, right? He wouldn't understand the value of money. He had never taken public.
No, she did not say that they had, hold on. Did KP say they ate with family at the Roadhouse? No, she said her and Sebastian ate at the Roadhouse, at Texas Roadhouse. She didn't say she met family there and anything like that.
Transportation on his own. And as I said at the top of the episode, all his shoes were accounted for. So for him to leave the house, he would have had to have left barefoot or in socks. So based on what they know of him, that's not something he would do. When they were asked what they thought happened, Katie and Chris said they believed that Sebastian must have walked away from the house sometime during the night. On March 4th, 1 week after Sebastian disappeared, the police held a press conference to provide an update. They said there were, quote, no leads and no details to indicate that Sebastian is not alive. Obviously, that's a good thing. Police also announced that the ground search would be scaled back while the investigation continued. They stated, quote, this does not diminish our commitment to finding Sebastian. This is simply us transitioning from a ground search to an investigative site. And this is just a reality of what happens in these types of cases. Now, I know some of you won't like what I'm about to say, but the reality is police departments aren't any different than any other organization that has to think about staffing and resources. So once leadership feels like every area where Sebastian could have been has been searched, and there's not even evidence that he could have been there, then at some point you have to reallocate staffing and resources to not only other cases, because think about it, there's also other crime going on concurrently at the same time, but also puts people that you do have in positions where they can make a difference. You don't want them searching areas just for the optics of it. You want them contributing in a productive way. So that may be taking an officer off the search and putting him on search warrants of particular houses. That may.
Yeah, and notice they did not want anyone from the family searching with them. They told the family that if they wanted to search, i.e. Sean, he could search on his own in his own places, but they did not want the family searching with them. KB, the guy that's on the screen, his name is Derrick. He has his own podcast channel. He also does a lot of crime. I think it's like Crime Cast Weekly or something with Stephanie Harlow. He's a former police officer and detective, so I thought his input would be pretty good.
Maybe taking an officer off the search and putting them on getting affidavits for any cell phone data that you want. That may be bringing multiple detectives in to start conducting interviews. These are all things that it's tough to do at the same time. So this, as they mentioned, is transitioning from that search capacity to the investigative capacity, where now they're trying to explore other alternatives that may lead to some new evidence that may help find Sebastian. So I don't have a problem with it. This needs to happen. it's never an easy thing to come out and say that the search is being pulled back. Everyone looks at that in a negative light. And I see where you're coming from, because you're hoping that one day they just make an announcement and they find Sebastian hiding somewhere. So when that doesn't happen, it's a punch to the gut. And I get it. But the ultimate goal is still the same. They got to find Sebastian. They got to reallocate the staffing and resources to areas where that is going to be the most advantageous to the overall investigation. And that's what they're doing here. So I'm on board with it. Now, that same day that law enforcement announced they were pulling back on the ground search, Sebastian's father, Seth, sat down with Fox 17 for an exclusive interview. And he said Sebastian was his whole life and he'd do anything to bring him home. He shared that if he could say one thing to Sebastian, it would be, quote, "I miss you, bud. I'm waiting. I want to hear from you." Katie and Chris also spoke to the media about Sebastian's disappearance. And during their interview, Katie shared this message for her son: "We love you so much and we want you to come home. And you're not in trouble. I just want my baby to be okay." A few days later, on March 7th, the police searched a landfill in White Plains, Kentucky, which is where the trash from Sebastian's neighborhood was taken. Now, the police did come out and say that the search was just a precaution. No specific evidence had led them to the site. And after hours of searching, as far as we can tell, there was nothing of value located, so the investigation continued on. So up to this point, as you can see, law enforcement is just kind of going through the leads, just checking them off one by one. And by them going to this trash site, if they're telling the truth, it's just another thing that they're checking off the list to make sure that they're dotting their I's and crossing their T's. And they haven't really said much publicly about the case or what direction they're going in. And that's because it's new and they don't want to give anybody a heads up on what direction they're going in or who they could be looking at. But on March 14th, that all changed because a news outlet, WTVF, obtained surveillance footage showing activity in the backyard common area of Sebastian's home at around 3 a.m. on the night he disappeared. The area had no streetlights and was pitch black, but the video captured two specks of light moving around. WTVF speculated that the lights could have been from two people walking around with flashlights. So the footage I'm about to play is from News Channel 5, and I'm going to describe the footage for anyone who's listening on audio, but if you're up on YouTube, you're going to see it yourself right now and come to your own conclusions. And if it's something different than what I'm saying, please let me know down in the comments. Okay, so you see the one subject on the right here. You got something up in the left. I don't know what that is, but then subject 2 is going to pop up for a second. There it is, and then it goes away. And now you have this overview shot of Sebastian's home. This kind of gives you an idea of what it looked like when it was, during the day. So now back to this, you see subject 1. Again, I don't know what the top left is, that light there. There's subject 2. You see it come into the photo, goes away. But then what you're going to see, it kind of gets lost in maybe some bushes or something like that. There's a close-up of subject 1. And then you have subject 2 walking towards subject 1. They both go off frame. However, then you just see one subject coming back, running through the brushes again, but at a faster rate, a much faster rate. So there's the video, and I don't want to look too deep into it, but it's really hard not to, especially when you think about some of the factors that we do know. We're talking about a window of 6 hours. 3 o'clock in the morning would be right in that window of opportunity. How many people are walking around at 3 a.m. and happen to be in the backyard of the person who's currently missing? And if that's not enough, you also have the fact that the parents have said he liked playing with this certain flashlight that was missing. That's a lot of coincidences. So if you take this video and you think that it is Sebastian, what it looks like is you have one person who's potentially Sebastian or maybe the other, and the two subjects come together with their flashlights. They go out of frame, and they're moving slow that entire time. But when they go out of frame, they're gone for a little bit, and then all of a sudden, one of the flashlights is seen moving at a rapid rate across the screen, as almost as if they're fleeing the area. That's not good. Again, I don't want to go too deep into it. It's not good that you see two people going one way and only one person coming back. However, I don't want to speculate too much. There's a lot that you could extrapolate from this video, but it would be building a house on a shitty foundation, because the reality is we don't know what we're looking at. Now, if you ask me, I think we're looking at two people holding a lantern or a flashlight. That's my opinion. However, the TBI did not care to share their opinions, and they released a statement. I can tell you they were not happy with WTVF, not only for sharing the footage, but also speculating on what it could be. So in the statement, they warned against sharing surveillance videos online, explaining that the footage could be misinterpreted. They also added that nothing gathered from home or business surveillance systems had been, quote, determined to be significant, and emphasized that there was no evidence of criminal activity in Sebastian's disappearance. They ended their statement by saying the family was cooperating fully with the investigation. And after I read that, my mind was in a pretzel, because now maybe I'm looking too deep into it, but I'm asking myself, do they know what this video footage is? And is it not what I think? But then I go back and I kind of debate myself, and I'm like, well, if it wasn't of value, why wouldn't they just come out and say what it was so we would stop talking about it? If I had to guess, just based on my background, I think it is of value. And I think they were just pissed off that it got out there, because now one of their cards have been shown. that's one less tool they have in the toolbox to use later. And that was information they wanted to keep in-house. And it's very possible that they're putting out this statement just to potentially throw people off, which is not a bad tactic. I might do a similar thing, maybe try to downplay it in a vague statement without completely discrediting it, because maybe later it'll become a critical piece of evidence. But yeah, where I sit right now, the video to me is exactly what it looks like. Two people holding flashlights. They come together, they go out of frame, only one comes back. What we can make of that, your guess is as good as mine. Now, around a week after that footage was released, Seth organized a search of the Natchez Trace State Park, which is approximately 100 miles from Hendersonville, and this was after receiving a tip suggesting the family should check the area, but unfortunately, nothing of value was found. However, that didn't discourage Seth because...
Hey, Big Thug, what's up?
Hey, what's up, so? What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I didn't know if I was like, oh, I wonder if you can hear me. I'm trying to get through this pretty fast because I know Toasty has a live coming up about Betty and stuff, but I didn't have any other chance to get on here, and I got to get up at 5:30, so I couldn't go after her because it's like 10 or 11 when she gets done. That's too late. So I was like, let me try to get one in real fast with this Derrick interview and get this out of the way before she goes live. I think I'm going to probably overlap, but that's all right.
Yeah, I get it.
She said it's okay. It ain't no big thing. She's like, I'm not going to fight you over a time slot. Girl, do your thing. So,
wait a minute. We're not going to have a big war over time slots with that?
Yeah, Toasty's not petty. She's not going to get petty over a time slot.
I thought you two were going to fist fight afterwards. I thought you two were
I mean, you know.
No.
She's not going to sit here and lie and call me a scammer bee.
Oh, shit. That's the next slide.
You took my time slot. Now you're a scammer.
Yeah.
All right. No sidebars, Babodi. I got you. All right. Here we go.
As he continued hosting searches and passing out flyers, he told News 2, quote, "I just want to find my son. I'm not going to give up hope." At the end of March, Katie and Chris spoke with Nancy Grace about the status of the case, and during the interview, they revealed that they were no longer staying in Hendersonville and had relocated to an RV out of town. Chris explained that this move was due to him going back to work. Nancy asked Katie if she was concerned about being away while the search for Sebastian continued, and Katie responded, quote, "Absolutely, my son could be anywhere, and we're looking everywhere and anywhere." When asked what she thought had happened to Sebastian, Katie said, quote, "I think it's possible someone has my son. I feel like if he had been close to the house or walked off, we would have found him by now with as many people as we had searching." Katie told Nancy that she was asked to take a polygraph, so she did, and she passed. And Chris said that since he was out of town when Sebastian disappeared, he wasn't asked to take a polygraph, but he said he'd be more than willing to do so if they wanted him to. Katie then claimed that both she and Chris had both been cleared by law enforcement. However, as far as I can tell, the police have never publicly cleared anyone. In fact, just days after this interview took place, police told WTVF that no one has been cleared. They also expressed frustration with online rumors and speculation, saying it did nothing to help the case. And I can see where the frustration is coming from. Just from our research on this case, you can find rumors and speculation on Facebook and Reddit, and people are presenting their theories as fact. And this type of behavior can severely hinder a case, especially a newer one like this, where law enforcement is keeping everything close to the chest, and they're being very careful about what is released and when it's released. There may be some strategy behind that. So if you have people putting misinformation out there and presenting it as fact, and for some unfortunate reason, it gains traction, it can cause the community to go in a specific direction that has nothing to do with what needs to be investigated. It can also create a public outcry that's unsubstantiated. For example, based on what's being put out online on Reddit or Facebook, you could have a group of people going after someone who has nothing to do with the crime. And we know that was going on here in this case, because even though they didn't say it, I believe personally that Katie and Chris moved partially because of the...
And yeah, Seth is not cleared. Hold on. Harlan, honey, you're up here with us. How are you, baby?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. They said say it louder for those in the back. Preach, baby.
You know, I have a question now. Do you think it's a possibility that those lights are not actually the garbage truck, and like they're just like they didn't want it out and they just were lying to us? So because they're kind of like saying, "Oh shit, this is out now." So let's just lie it's like a garbage truck or something like this guy's thinking.
I don't know.
Because like think about it. Let's say the kid's kidnapped. Would you really want that stuff out there, or would you want them to think that like, no, we're not considering that, that's no big deal, blah blah blah. And then the question they follow up, they ask Seth, hey, you know, let's play the what if game. Like, what if you paid someone to kidnap your son? Like, would that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
or what if you had a deal with one of the one of the inmates?
Yeah.
blah blah blah.
like,
What if, like the what if game? I get what you're saying. Yeah.
like that would make a lot more sense, that question, because if they think like if they thought he ran away, why would they ask a what if game? And then they go in and they, and if they didn't think those lights had anything to do with like a person, and they thought it was a garbage truck, why would they like basically ask that question to Seth?
I don't know. That's really hard. Like,
And it could make sense that they just lie. They could be like, oh, let's just lie to everyone, say that it's just, whatever. And Chris could just be like doing what the police are asking him to, and say just, keep that up, because Chris is good at keeping, like, not going public about things and stuff like that.
I don't know. I don't know.
And maybe that's originally what Seth was doing as well when he said that. He went out there and he was like, they probably maybe gave him a talk to and said, hey, why don't you just say it was light? And that's why maybe he's pissed off at Nick Barris so much, Seth, because Nick Barris wasn't supposed to have that fucking video.
I don't know. All I wanted to do, I wanted to come up here and tell B Tim, you boy, when I heard you on panel with Wispy going head to head with Sinner, woo, I have to give you props, bro. Like
Okay.
that, you you rock. Like,
Oh, thank you. I didn't really, I was just confronting him about his lies, but he went really low, and I just, it is what it is. But, it's not the time or you know what I mean? I appreciate it, but we're kind of on the subject, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to derail it too much.
right. I just wanted to say that to you. So
Thank you.
moving
I
on.
appreciate
Anyway.
that. But what do you think of that? Do you think like that's the maybe, because that would make a lot of sense. Like, why does Seth really hate Nick Barris?
Right.
And
Why?
maybe,
Okay, I understand your question, but why is Seth fighting anybody that's trying to help find his son? That's the bottom line. Like,
yeah,
why? Why is he fighting so hard?
I don't know. I mean, that's what I'm just thinking. Like, if they rethink about this in the whole angle that the cops basically, that got released, and now they have to kind of, you know what I mean? I don't know. It's weird. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. It could be just like this guy's like, conspiracy tinfoil hat theory, but it is what it is. I know Gray has said it was a truck, garbage truck, and that's been the story. But it's just like, it's kind of interesting that this guy thinks that there's a lie, and when you try to think of it another way of thinking, things start making a little bit more sense, a little bit.
Right.
Hey, by the way, what's up, Layla? Hello, everyone. By the way, if I didn't say hello. But anyway, that's my thoughts. But yeah, I mean, I could be wrong. It's just I'm rethinking it in a different angle, and I'm not. It's a little bit of a speculation, but like that's just my, if you think about it in a different angle, because I always thought to myself, like, Seth being so pissed off at Nick Barris seemed a little odd.
Right.
And he's like, really was pissed off. And I said to myself, like, I don't know. It's just a thought I had. And now this guy saying this and them asking him about the what if game. And if they thought, Sebastian just ran out in the woods, they wouldn't be asking, like, what if you paid someone to kidnap your son or something like that? They would think,
Yeah, isn't it really odd, though, that Sean was like, hey, LE's not worried about my son. They don't care, blah, 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 blah. The day that Betty was out protesting, and the day that they said, we're not going to give you any information. We have information, but we're not giving it to you. And then they came out with the $50,000 reward. Yeah. So he was really mad. He threw a whole temper tantrum that day, made a community tab that day. It's posted in our, we have it. Anyhow, he made a community tab. Now, as of yesterday or the day before, he did an interview with the news, and now he backs LE. He thinks they're just the bee's knees.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I am so sick and tired of talking about other people in this case. There is a missing boy. Like, Sebastian, where is he? He's gone. But his dad has made this a mockery. Like,
yeah,
this is gross. A little boy is missing. Where is he? You know?
Yeah. I guess we'll listen to this gentleman again. How long has this guy's been a police officer, by the way? Was he a police officer?
You know, I'm not sure. I'll go look it up while we listen.
Yeah, he looks really young. He must have, must have served like when he was like 20s. Or he's like, looks the best,
the backlash they were getting.
You keep on playing, I'm sorry.
And that's not just me pulling it out of thin air. She later told Fox News, quote, "We are posting flyers every direction we can, but at the same time, there were quite a bit of people that were sending some very threatening and hateful messages to us. They're following us, they're driving past our house at all hours of the day or night, disturbing the neighborhood, and even the neighborhood is very upset and concerned. They're worried about their safety at this point." She finished off by saying that she felt leaving the neighborhood would help calm things down. And that's unfortunate, because there's a real possibility she had nothing to do with Sebastian's disappearance. I'm not clearing her completely. I'm in no position to do so. But based on the little bit of video we do have, is it possible that Sebastian met someone outside that wasn't Katie? Of course it is. So to have these people so convinced that she's responsible for Sebastian's disappearance, it's unfair. And she may very well be a victim at this point as well. Now, if information comes out that suggests otherwise, I'll be the first to hop on it. But we're not there yet. And we have to treat everyone innocent until proven guilty. And as of right now, there has been nothing incriminating about Katie. We're going to take our last break. We'll be right back. Menu regulating this whole line of sheets, sheets. And if you use is so complicated, use my code. Continue with the next significant update, which came on April 2nd when the police held a press conference. They shared that during the first week of the investigation, they obtained multiple search warrants, including one for Sebastian's home. According to WKRN, cell phone data was
Hold on, we have Kristen up here. What's up, baby? Kristen, can you hear me? Okay.
Was also analyzed, and all available digital evidence, including data from Sebastian's Nintendo, was searched and documented. Additionally, with the help of the FBI, all vehicles that were in the area at or around the time of Sebastian's disappearance had been identified and accounted for. And that's all you're going to hear about that, because more than likely a call was made and the FBI deployed some science and technology that might be used for other things like counterterrorism, things of that nature, where they were able to deploy, I would assume, some type of satellite imagery, plate readers, things of that nature. And they feel confident with the information that was gathered. Now, will we know those details? Probably not unless it goes to an affidavit and then an arrest. And the reason being is we don't want to disclose all the tools we have at our disposal. That would just give the advantage to the bad guy where they can try and circumvent it. So the technology was used, it was successful in what it was supposed to do, and that's all you're going to hear about it. Now, the police emphasized that they were continuing to work tirelessly, focusing on, quote, good old-fashioned police work. They were interviewing and re-interviewing individuals, checking leads, and then rechecking them again. And that's what I like to hear. It's easy to get caught up and think you are the best at what you do. You got to put your egos aside. Even though you think you checked every area, even though you think you asked all the important questions, let someone else look at it. Let them analyze your work. Let them critique your work and see if they come up with something different. There's nothing wrong with that. In many cases, they will find something that you missed, not because you're bad at what you do, but you're juggling a lot of balls there. And you have to make sure that you have someone backing you up, double checking your work to make sure that as you move forward, nothing's been missed. This is the way to do it. I know they're saying it. I hope they're following through with it. So even though law enforcement said they were doing their job, Seth wanted to make sure that all angles were being covered. So in mid-April, he hired private investigator Heather Cohen to assist in the search for Sebastian. And together they spoke to News Nation, and Heather stated that she believes Sebastian's disappearance is the result of a, quote, domino effect of events. She pointed to what she described as, quote, a lot of turmoil surrounding Sebastian, and highlighted December 2023 and January 2024 as key months investigators should examine. She also mentioned that the Tennessee Department of Children's Services had previously been referred to the Proudfoot home. However, she noted that the case has been closed and the file was restricted, leaving details unclear. She also referenced, quote, some talk about Chris leaving Katie, calling it, quote, trouble in paradise. Seth told News Nation that he has, quote, mixed feelings about whether Sebastian was safe at his mother's house. He said, quote, I've heard some things. He also revealed that Katie and Chris hadn't spoken to him for 2 weeks, which he felt meant they didn't share the same goal of finding Sebastian. Seth expressed confusion over the circumstances of Sebastian's disappearance, saying, quote, it doesn't make a lot of sense. He explained that Sebastian didn't like going barefoot after a childhood incident, so leaving the house without shoes didn't seem likely, not to mention the fact that he left behind his phone and his Nintendo. The police also spoke to News Nation and reiterated that while there was no evidence of foul play, they were not ruling anything out, and they made it abundantly clear again that Katie and Chris had been cooperative throughout the entire investigation. After all these interviews, the search for Sebastian continued, but the media coverage, as it usually does, began to slow down. In mid-May, Seth publicly called for the FBI to take over the investigation into Sebastian's disappearance. He told News Nation, quote, "I don't want my son to become a cold case. The way I'm seeing things now, it'll be a cold case." By late August, more than 6 months had passed since Sebastian went missing. At that time, the FBI announced a $50,000 reward for information leading to Sebastian's safe return or the arrest and conviction of those responsible for his disappearance. In September, Dwayne Chapman, also known as Dog the Bounty Hunter, joined Seth in the search for Sebastian. Chapman followed leads and doubled the FBI's reward, raising it up to $100,000. He told the media that he believed increasing the reward would bring them closer to finding the answers they were looking for. Over the following months, the investigation continued. His parents remained vocal in the media, but the police were tight-lipped, revealing little to no information. As of this recording, the investigation into Sebastian's case is still very active. The most recent update was released on November 22nd, when the reward for information increased to $200,000. Seth spoke to News 2 at that time, expressing hope that Sebastian would soon be found. He noted that on December 7th, 2024, Sebastian will turn 16 years old. Seth said he hopes Sebastian will be home before then because he doesn't want to miss any more moments without his son. All right, let's get into the perspective, and I want to elaborate on some of the things I said, dive into the video a little bit more. What does it mean? But this isn't going to be that long because this is a new case, and this is more a call to action. I want to get through this, get you the information you need, and hopefully someone listening or watching this episode comes forward. So the first thing I want to address is the elephant in the room. Could Katie be responsible? Yeah, she could be. I think even she would acknowledge that that's a possibility, especially when you think about the two lights, that if those two lights are two human beings, one light could be Sebastian, one light could be Katie. I do want to say that this isn't a case where it could be an infant that was unable to take care of themselves and needed constant parental supervision, and maybe the lack thereof resulted in a death. I don't think that's what we're...
Did you happen to look up and see how long he was a cop? Did you get that?
Someone said he was the youngest in Rhode Island. I think they said I gotta look it up, but someone said like 13 or something, or 17 or something like that. 13 years, they said. He was a cop.
Well, that was intense. I mean, oh.
No, I think this video is pretty good for just highlighting the events, obviously.
Right. I love Derrick Levasseur. I really like him. I think he's great. But I'm too emotionally involved in this case. But I don't want to hear anything bad about Katie. I cannot imagine what she's going through. I mean, there is a possibility that she did something, but there's also a possibility that she didn't. And if she didn't, she is going through hell.
Yeah, I know. I mean, but the thing is that everyone's still a suspect. I'm just saying, like, no one should be harassing her. You can have your opinions. You can have your opinions all day, every day. You can think Seth is guilty. You can think Katie's guilty. You can think he ran away. You could think he was lured out. Those are opinions people can hold. The issue would be that the harassment of someone and defamation of someone. You know what I mean? Like saying as a fact Katie did it, or saying as a fact Seth did something. To me, is wrong. You can have an opinion. You could be like, based upon this, and this, I have an opinion that this has happened. And I don't think, and then, someone can debate you and discuss with you and say there's holes in your ideas, or how there's holes in your idea. The issue is not that. The issue is harassment of people.
Right.
That's the issue. So, I mean, like what he's doing is just like anyone that is, if you're looking at a case, there's case is still open, so obviously people are going to look at other angles. It's just how it is. They're going to have an opinion. Can't stop someone from having an opinion.
Exactly. It just, oh man, I would never want to be in her position ever.
I think it's a terrible position to have your son missing, to deal with social media, to deal with all this crazy stuff. It's a terrible situation, and unfortunately, it happens a lot. And it is what it is. But I can't really like fault the guy for basically addressing each parent, because obviously that's the thing. That's what people do usually for these types of. But he's
Right.
telling, he's not telling his audience, go harass this lady or go do this or go do that. I mean, that's not what he's doing.
Right. And I 100% agree with you. But there is a point where there's a person that is being gross. I mean, we all know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. But you got to realize these videos he's making are for like people that didn't closely follow the case. Some are, but a lot of people might not just start watching this guy and say, "Oh, this is the case, okay," and they want the they're not going to know about how Seth, how Dog the Bounty Hunter can't even remember Seth's name or Sebastian's name, and he's just an opportunistic, in my opinion, opportunistic individual that jumps on any sort of hot story so he can get famous again, so he can launch his podcast or whatnot. He's not going to talk about how, $175,000 is, pledged and basically started up by some guy named Nick the Hat that hangs out in a parking lot and has a very interesting criminal history. He's not going to go into that because that would make people confused of the timeline events. And also those are kind of like side things, I mean, they're just kind of distractions. So.
Right. I know.
Oh, anyway, Queen, if you want to hit the play or something, I'll keep quiet. Or I'll just keep talking until you hit the play.
Are we ready?
Yeah, we're ready.
We're looking at here. Sebastian was capable of taking care of himself. So unless she deliberately did something to him, I don't see that being the case. And I would then have to know what the motive was. Sebastian was living with her, but he also had the ability to live with his father. Doesn't appear that he was being a nuisance or was being combative. Everyone loved him. He was doing good. He was going to school. What could have happened that would have changed all that? I'm not seeing anything. That doesn't mean there's not something there. I don't have access to all the records, but on the surface, I don't think that Katie's the prime person of interest here. I think there's a lot of circumstances at play here that would suggest another theory, which is what I want to get into now. Yes, Sebastian was extremely intelligent, but as someone who has autism, even though they're high functioning, they are sometimes susceptible to not picking up on social cues. I know this. I have people who are autistic in my own family, and it's possible that someone who presented themselves as a friendly was actually a foe. And it could have been just through text or through just some quick interactions where Sebastian thought this person wanted one thing when in reality they wanted something else. So we could have a scenario where Sebastian waited for Katie to go to sleep with the intent on meeting up with this person. And I'll even go as far as saying this. I keep saying this person had, some type of malicious intention. It's also possible it was someone who was a friend or someone who was just hanging around and having fun with Sebastian. And maybe something happened while they were out playing around, could have been an accident. And this person got spooked, felt responsible, took off, and has never come forward. That is one angle. The other angle is this person, like we were originally saying, did have some type of nefarious intention, was able to get Sebastian out of the house, brought him somewhere, and based on just the video, it seems like whatever happened to Sebastian happened relatively soon after they went out of frame. I say that because only one subject is seen running back across the camera. That's what happens when you start to analyze this video, right? Because you could push back on me and say, well, how do we know that the two people went off camera and the person we see running back this way isn't Sebastian? Maybe they're playing manhunt, hide and go seek, whatever you want to call it. Different generations call it different things, where they could have been out there playing around and maybe Sebastian runs off in the opposite direction, loses his sense of direction, loses his orientation, and keeps running and gets to a point where he falls, gets hurt, continues down into something where he can't be seen. Again, not likely. At this point, someone should have spotted him or a dog should have picked up on his scent. That's not the case. So a lot of questions, a lot of variables here. If I'm looking at this, and I think investigators are probably looking at it this way as well, if that camera footage is what we think it is, and I know they downplayed it, but if it's what we think it is, you have Sebastian and you have the person responsible for his disappearance. And that could be a variety of people. I'll even throw out there, just for the sake of this conversation, without knowing the details, which this could be quickly ruled out, could Seth have been in the area? Was Seth down in that location based on his GPS data from his cell phone, his vehicle data? I don't have that information. That is something that as a detective, I would be going down the list and ruling them out one by one. We can also add Chris to that list. I know he was in Memphis, according to what I said tonight. That's probably the case. That would need to be verified as well. Once we've done all that, and we know the only person that was in that house and in that vicinity that's connected to Sebastian was Katie, then you start there. Now I would want to explore Sebastian's life. I know he didn't have social media, but they said he was a gamer. And I don't know what games he was playing. They mentioned Nintendo numerous times, although 2024, Nintendo doesn't seem like the optimal unit to be using. But I do wonder if any of the games he was playing, whether it was on Nintendo or on some other gaming system or on a computer, did any of those games have a community element to it where you could interact with other gamers who are currently playing the game? I know there's games as simple as Roblox on your phone where you're playing the game, but yet you're also interacting with other people. Could he have been interacting with someone who was local, who set up a meet time for them to go out and play Manhunt or play with flashlights or go on a little adventure, a mission? What could have gotten him out of the house? Someone would have had to have access to him. And the only way I'm seeing right now would be by phone or through the gaming system. And if they contacted him through phone, we would have someone by now. They've gone through that phone with a fine-tooth comb. They can see all his data. They would know his search history, who he's communicating with, who his contacts are, and what different search history he had going on in there. So I don't see that as an angle. The gaming system is something I want to explore. But I do think that there's someone in this community, probably multiple people, who know something and maybe haven't come forward yet. I am a little concerned that at this point, there has been no sightings of him on camera. You've seen the overhead view of that area. It's a nice community. And you would think that most of them have some type of surveillance system, some type of doorbell camera, and no one picked him up. Not one camera. As far as we know, nothing. It doesn't leave a lot of options. It means he went towards the woods, and you have to ask the question, who'd he go with and where are they now? As far as where I sit, there is a silver lining here, and it's a morbid way of looking at things, but the fact that we don't have evidence that Sebastian has been hurt or killed is a win. As long as there's no evidence of him being injured out in the woods, there's a potential that he's not there and he's currently residing with someone. Obviously, it's not under the right circumstances, but the best case scenario is that he's still alive and he's okay. He may be being held against his will, or he may believe that he has the freedom to leave when he really doesn't. Either way, someone needs to come forward. Something happened in that immediate area. Someone who had seen him in the past, who had known who he was, who had known the time that they could get access to him or what to say to get him to come out of the house, possibly barefoot. This is someone who had some type of interaction with him before. And that's going off the assumption that this doesn't involve a family member or friend, because in that case, they would have immediate access to him, and they would also know what to say to incentivize him to go outside. And the final scenario, which I don't personally put a lot of stock in, is that he ran off on his own, and maybe he planned on coming back, but he got hurt or injured and wasn't able to do so. But that doesn't make a lot of sense to me for a variety of reasons, which we talked about in the episode. No shoes, no phone, and most importantly, that video in his backyard. It clearly looks like two people. So unless there's UFOs in his backyard, or unless there's some type of anomaly with that camera that created this illusion, almost like you'd see orbs in a photo, then those are two people. And I think the movements of those little white dots are highly suggestive that they're human beings holding some type of illuminated device, i.e. a flashlight or a lantern. So where does that leave us? We need someone to come forward. There's a $200,000 reward. If you have information that could help solve this case, now is the time to do something about it. I'm sure if you come forward and you're not directly involved, you can remain anonymous. And if this turns out that you're right and it leads to the location of Sebastian, or it results in the arrest of the person responsible for Sebastian's disappearance, at minimum, if doing the right thing isn't enough for you, you can make a lot of money. So just to recap, 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers was last seen on February 26, 2024 in the area of Stafford Court in Hendersonville, Tennessee. He was wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, and black square-framed glasses. At the time of his disappearance, Sebastian, who was a white male, was approximately 5 foot 5 inches tall, 120 pounds, with sandy hair and brown eyes. If you have information concerning the whereabouts of Sebastian, please contact the Sumner County Sheriff's Office at 615-451-3838, or you can contact the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation at 1-800-TBI-FIND. And as I mentioned, there is a reward available. $200,000 could be yours if you help solve this case. And as always, my final words go out to Seth and Katie, and also Chris. I know you're hurting right now. I know you're doing everything you can to help find your son. And I'm hoping that this little show here does something to contribute to that, to keep sharing Sebastian's story, to make sure that the exposure and the light stays on his case. I know with all these tragedies that happen every single day, that's getting harder and harder to do. But we're here. We're going to do our part now. We're rooting for you guys. And I hope there's an update in this case soon. And as it was mentioned, December 7th, it's coming up fast. Sebastian's going to be 16 years old. Let's bring him home. I hope we do that. That's going to do it for me, guys. Everyone stay safe out there. I'll see you soon.
I thought it was a pretty good video. Very well put together. There was some facts at the end, like he says, oh, well, it wasn't confirmed where Seth, I would want to see his GPS. Meanwhile, I think it's pretty, I mean, I'm surprised the LE doesn't say, but it's pretty confirmed that he was at his work and Chris was at his job at the time. I think he would probably be very, I think like the information about Seth saying that he was asked the what if question, I think that would probably raise some red flags with this guy a little bit if he heard that. I think there's some key information he's missing, but it was a pretty good video. I also like his background, by the way. His background's very nice. Unlike Josh, who continues to not put that damn cloth up and says he will not do that. Josh from the lab, maybe, just saying, getting really tired of it. You need to fix that cloth in the back, just saying. Have a professional background like this guy, just bringing that up. Maybe have like a lab background, just saying. Anyway, just throwing that out there.
Right, and I agree with you, B. Tim, but this was Derrick Levasseur. He did a great job, a really great job on the video. I don't think that he doesn't know the backstory.
Yeah,
all this BS going on.
I think a very, very key detail would be that what if question, because I think if he heard that, I think it would probably reinforce that thought process of being lured or something, because that's an odd question to ask someone, especially a parent. You know what I mean? It's very odd, especially if they're at work and stuff like that. Josh doesn't care that he looks like. Listen, Josh, this is sidebar. Okay, your background is dated. The cloth thing, all that shit, fuck that shit. You should have what this guy has the background. This guy's background is fantastic. Do something like that. Have like a lab background, like CSI. You're called the lab, and your background looks like a bachelor's patent. You know what I mean? It's not actually looking like a lab, a CSI lab. Get lights in the background, a nice, test tubes, microscope, things just for the background to look nice. And then do that. Guarantee you get more people watching. Just saying. That's my advice. But God damn it, fix that cloth. I'm really getting tired of staring at that damn cloth. Fix it. But no, I'm giving you very good ideas. I'm saying that the background needs to be way updated. It'd probably bring more people in. It'd probably be like, whoa, look at that nice background.
Right.
I'm not a hater all the time. I'm giving you advice. Critical, nice advice here. I'm just saying.
It's not the Dollar Tree green screen like somebody else has.
Don't do a better. Don't do a. Josh heard that. It bothers. It does bother me. I want that goddamn thing repaired. I have to review that guy sometimes, and I stare at that for like hours, and I just think to myself,
right?
Just like, God damn! I wish I could just go through the screen and just pull it up and just nail it in and not fix it. I'm trying positive reinforcement, Josh. I'm trying just get a new background. Anyway.
I can't take you seriously when you have that stupid green screen behind you. Stop it. Stop it.
But anyway, I think but I think though, I mean, this is a pretty good video that this guy did. I've got what channel this guy is from, but I thought it was a very good video. I thought it was very unbiased. I thought his perspective, I think it was very open perspective. It kind of didn't rule anything out. And it's not like a lot of other people that be like, Katie did it. I think it was a lot better than the Lounge's videos. Lounge's was kind of a little biased and stuff and kind of pushed towards conspiracy, while this guy kind of focused on, getting the facts out and really just trying to be fair with all the parents involved.
Right.
So I thought that was very nice.
Exactly.
Tell us your OCD without telling us your OCD. Listen, I'm just saying, if I had if I was video, if you were seeing me, you would not see me with like a picture uneven. It would drive me nuts. It would drive me absolutely nuts. Yeah, he's not going to update it while I talk about it. But you know what? I'm trying positive reinforcement with Josh. I'm trying to say, hey, man, update the background. Make it look like a lab, like a CSI lab. I wouldn't use blue, though, in the background due to various reasons. Keep on using that, that other color you use, but don't use blue ever. Just saying. Let me see. Listen to your elders, Josh. I'm a 66-year-old man. You said that I was too old. I'm 66. Listen to your elders. The elders telling you do this. New York City CEO guy is named Luigi. Wonder if Mark. I don't really like joke. A lot of people. That's an interesting. I was watching that. They caught him. He had the ghost gun, basically. A 3D printer gun. He had the IDs. I think they got the right guy, Luigi. And I saw his YouTube channel too, with him with the McDonald's thing, McDonald's box. He was caught in McDonald's because one of the workers saw him.
I'm going to pop that on too real fast, and then we'll finish up and get off here so we can roll over to toast.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I just said absolutely. That's all.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I just said absolutely. I was done.
So we let's see here. So we have the
I did a sidebar with Josh. I told him about the cloth. He better repair it. Fix that up.
Oh no, I was gonna say I wondered why the hell we lost 100 people. What happened? What the fuck happened here? Josh, that's what happened. Josh. Joshing around. Damn it.
I did a side
joshing around.
Joshing around.
You're joshing us. All right, here we go.
Brian Thompson.
Good afternoon to you at 4 o'clock. I'm David Usher.
I'm Natalie Pasquarello. We want to get right out to News 4's Mark Santia. He is live in Altoona, Pennsylvania. That's where a man is being interviewed by the NYPD right now. Mark.
Yeah, Natalie and David, Altoona is home to about 40,000 people. As you can imagine, this is causing quite a stir. You take a look behind me, media and residents here surrounding the police station. Moments ago, an NYPD caravan pulled up. Several NYPD detectives, including Deputy Commissioner Kaz Daughtry, arrived here at the Altoona police station. This is where the person of interest is being held, and this is where the investigation is entering another phase. A 5-day nationwide manhunt coming to an end 300 miles from New York City. Police in Altoona, Pennsylvania, arresting 26-year-old Luigi Mangione in connection with the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson.
The suspect was in a McDonald's and was recognized by an employee who then called local police.
The McDonald's employee recognizing Mangione from one of these photos sent out by the NYPD after Wednesday morning's attack in Midtown Manhattan. Altoona police questioning Mangione, finding a trove of evidence, including a fake New Jersey ID and a gun police described as a ghost gun.
Upon further investigation, officers recovered a firearm on his person, as well as a suppressor, both consistent with the weapon used in the murder.
Police say they also found a mask and clothes matching what the shooter was wearing on Wednesday, and police found a 3-page handwritten note that speaks to a possible motive.
Preliminarily, like I said, he seems that he has some ill will toward corporate America.
Mangione is currently being held at the Altoona police station. Late this afternoon, NYPD officers and the FBI arriving to question him. Police crediting the public for the crucial tip that led to Mangione's arrest.
We should never underestimate the power of the public to be our eyes and our ears in these investigations.
Back here live in Altoona, Pennsylvania, where there's a heavy NYPD police presence. 2 more detectives, Natalie. And David just walked into the police station there. Now, Mangioni's being held here. At this point, he is not charged with the Midtown murder. He's currently being held here on gun charges. We're live in Altoona, Pennsylvania. I'm Mark Santia, News 4 New York.
Likely a long few hours there, Mark. Thank you for updating us from the scene of where this person of interest is being held. There are, of course, a lot of questions about the identity of the man who is going to be questioned by police.
Want to bring in Chief Investigative Reporter Jonathan Deans, picking up our team coverage from the newsroom. John.
Okay, so basically they think they got him then, right?
I think that they got him. I'm pretty much, I've seen him do the perp walk. I think they got him. I think they got him with the bag, the clothes, everything. But the thing is, this guy is you know, kind of being celebrated by the public, by a lot of people in the public, which is kind of odd to see. A guy that guns down another man who has 2 kids and a wife in the streets like that. You know what I mean? Like that's the weird thing about it. You know what I mean? I mean the whole political. I mean, like he's like very much into politics, leftist politics, and stuff like that. But it's just weird to see people celebrate that. To me, like I don't celebrate a man shooting another man in the streets like that. That to me is just nasty. I mean, like you have a problem with the United.
What was wrong with him? Do you think it was over health care? Did he not get the care he needed?
No, his parents are rich.
Think it was?
His parents are rich.
What?
No, his parents were rich. This was a political statement.
What do you think happened?
No,
so he's going to fight the fuck out of this. Then he's going to probably have some good attorneys.
Yeah, no, this was a political statement. He doesn't like the healthcare system. He doesn't like how things are. This was a political statement. This was not like a revenge that he was denied. This was pure political.
See, he looks like a cute little college kid. He doesn't look like a killer. I'm serious. He looks like a young ass college kid. He does not look like a fucking killer.
He is. He graduated. He was very smart in this college.
That's what I'm saying. He does not look like he's, you know, I guess, I mean.
Well, this is what happens with
yeah,
social media.
That's him, baby. That's supposed to be him. But all right, here, let's watch this little real quick. Let's see.
This is the Ivy League graduate and valedictorian who police say is the suspected CEO assassin.
Luigi Nicholas Mangione.
Oh
Luigi Mangione is from a wealthy Maryland family. He was
What? A fucking wealthy Maryland family. Are you serious? He went to
parents
class. That's it.
Yeah, his parents own. I think I heard from someone in Discord. His parents own like a bunch of like healthcare centers or some shit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, like this guy is from a wealthy, privileged family. He kind of like dodged out of social media in 2020, and I think he got like radicalized on social media and a lot of things. And you know, this was his political statement against the healthcare system.
See, I'm not trying to share my real life, but I do work in a field where I deal with insurance. So this case kind of hit me hard. And to see this little fucktard, like why? Why?
Yeah, it's really shitty. I mean, that's real. I can't believe this. What a waste. That's right, Kay. What a fucking waste. He's so smart. And he just goes off and ruins his fucking life. Murders this guy, you know, cold blood in the streets. Like I said, he doesn't look like no killer. He doesn't look like, you know what I'm saying? I can see like if it was some, you know, like a gang member running up and pop, you know what I mean? But that's this guy, I mean.
What? I mean, like, I think more people are killed for political ideology than gangs. Let's just say that much. Not surprising to me. Probably.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, I could see a gang member walking up and doing something like that before I could see a fucking valedictorian going to UPenn doing it.
Right. I could tell you now.
You know what? There's a lot of school shooters and shit too these days. So I get, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, let me tell you this now. In history, there's been a
lot
lot
I
of.
live 3 hours from Chicago, so it's a little different.
In history, a lot of very smart individuals killed a lot of people because of their political ideology, and this guy is no different. He probably thought that he was making a statement against United Healthcare, their high denial rate. He was probably warped. His mind was warped with a lot of stuff online, and he probably thought he was making a statement. You know, that
how much how quick do you think his kiosk is going to fill up?
Oh, it's already filled up. This guy's gonna get more women than Brian Kohlberger.
That's it.
You think Wade Wilson got a lot of people?
He's gonna be the new Wade Wilson without all the facial tattoos.
God, don't.
This guy's gonna fill up more than Wade Wilson, way more.
You know what? You don't hear him say, baby, you gonna bring me noodles, baby? You gonna bring me ramen noodles, baby?
No, I mean, think about it. They're gonna women are gonna be like, oh my God, he was making a political statement. He's fighting the right fight. He's good looking, young, rich. That's what's gonna happen. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be happy because I saw very big YouTubers that were kind of justifying this guy's position.
Yeah, I seen that too. I was like, wait a minute, Tia, you're up here. Wishful thinking, you're up here.
Hi, Queen. How are you?
Good. How are you, baby?
Good.
Hey, Queen.
So I know this is going to sound really strange, but my daughter actually knows of this kid. This kid is 3 years older than my daughter. He was a senior when she was a freshman. He went to the all boys
school or something, or
no, he went to an all boys school. He went to Gilman, which is a very privileged school in Baltimore.
So she doesn't know of him. She don't know.
She knows of him. Her best friend does know him. And the story is, and story is all we get. We don't. There's nothing there's nothing right now. The story, he's 26. He just turned 26, and he would have come off his dad's insurance, and he was pissed off. Privileged white boy, and pissed off that he couldn't be on his parents' insurance anymore. He was going to have to pay for his own insurance. Do I know who Bob Mangione is? I do know Bob Mangione. And it's Mangione, not Mangione. God, that drives me nuts.
Mangione.
How do you know that? How do you know this fact that he was pissed off that he was going to get off his father's
right? Did that come out in the news clip or something? Or
yes, it did. It has come out in the news clip since he was arrested. But again, that is a story. That is not a fact. I don't know that for a fact. That's the story. That's what they're saying. And I say when I say they, I mean. That was the news clip that I heard locally. He comes from a well-to-do family, not rich. They own a country club, not several. And I would say they're upper middle class, not rich. But he has led a privileged lifestyle. Yes, he is Italian. That is obvious.
Boston said, are you going to do the CEO story? Baby, this is the CEO story. This is the guy that shot him.
This is him.
Yep. This is what we're talking about. This is the guy that shot him. And what? Okay. Was there writing on the bullets or no?
Yes.
That's bullshit. There
really
was.
There was markers. Yeah.
You know how social media fucking runs with bullshit. So I didn't know if that was something that, like I said, I just was curious if that was really set, really on there, or if that was just a rumor that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's based on a book. It's based on a book that he was reading. I don't remember the book, but there's a book that he was reading that those words are based off of.
Well, actually, they're based off of
news, or where
they're actually based off of health. I used to be a health insurance broker, and those are words that you use in underwriting.
Okay.
When you're declining someone because of whatever.
So they're saying he made it. So did he order the pew-pew? Because you can order them in parts and pieces. And if you're a felon, you say you're a felon, you can order one in parts and pieces and then put it together. It's not illegal until it's actually put together and, you know what I'm saying, able to fire a round off.
No, it was a 3D printed gun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can,
Isn't that crazy?
And it's not, there's all kinds of loopholes. Trust and believe me.
I literally had no idea. And my daughter just came in the room a couple of minutes ago and she was like, I should probably tell you that I know that guy. And I was like, you should probably go back to your room and never come out again.
Because you're going to get hidden now.
She's 23. He's 3 years older. But she was a freshman when he was So I don't know what they call them all over, but around here they call them mixers. The boys, girls in the school, and the girls' schools, they have the mixers. Or
So
they have
look,
the
some of the
dances.
chat says I'm not mad at him, and the other part of the chat's like, yeah, I am. You know what? Let's do a poll real quick, so that way you can answer it anonymously.
I mean, like at the end of the day, I want everyone that sits here and says they're not mad at him to go think about you standing in front of his two kids and saying how
Granny, he's not framed.
Wait, can I
Have his
finish?
DNA.
Wait. I don't know if you can hear me or not, or am I just too low because I was in the middle of a sentence. But I like people to actually go in front of this, the man that was shot and killed, like two kids, and say how justified it was that he died. At the end of the day, it wasn't justified, and it's not something I think is really something that should be championed. The man went beyond the law, and he killed an innocent man. Even though you might disagree with his job is not illegal. He wasn't freaking murdering people like a drug dealer or something. He had a job. The problem was the system, but he was an innocent man, and he did not deserve to be shot down the streets. And if any one of these people just champion and saying, "Oh, he's whatever, he's a great guy for doing this," I want you to think about standing in front of his two kids and his wife and saying that to their face, because now they're going to grow up without their father.
Well, I guess my question would be, how would he feel if this were his father?
Yeah. How would they feel if someone thought it was justified to shoot his father because of what he's been doing? You know what I mean? I just think I'm very much against the idea of shooting men in the middle of the streets like that. Even though I disagree with the health system, I absolutely think it's a broken system where people get denied, and the whole thing is the profit margin. The whole profit is denying people who've paid. But that is not going to be solved by some whack job shooting the cogs in the system. Like shooting the cogs in the system is they're gonna be replaced. There's gonna be a new CEO tomorrow. So
I assure you, there's already one replaced.
Yeah. And now these kids are going to grow up without a father and a wife with a husband, and think about the emotional turmoil those people are facing, and that family's facing, because this guy thought he was justified in what he was doing.
And people need to understand how health insurance works. It's not the CEO making the decisions. It's all run by different, like each state has their own laws and regulations of how things work.
Mm-hmm.
There are things federally across the board that work, but then each state has their own rules and regulations, and every quarter they change.
Yeah, I get it.
It's not the CEO that's doing it. It's literally the government who comes in and underwrites every insurance company.
I mean, I think the system, when it comes to health insurance system, is very much broken. Unless you're really, really poor, you'll get some sort of coverage. But if you're in the middle class, you get almost no coverage. You get no coverage, and you're actually better off, and then if you're rich, you don't really care. So it's a system that is really made to screwing over the middle class a lot of times. And
it's interesting to see. Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize to you, Tim.
You go.
It was interesting to read some of the comments who are saying like how the system is corrupt. So shooting a guy on the street makes it not corrupt anymore?
Yeah, I mean,
that doesn't make sense to me.
The thing is, the guy took judgment in his own hands. And if we all did that, then there would be wild, wild west out there. You know what I mean?
And this was a kid that was really living a good life.
Yeah.
Who was brought up the right way and was doing all the things the right way. And unfortunately, for whatever reason, made this terrible decision to do this. And I have an issue when I see things like the system is corrupt. Well, okay.
Yeah.
But yet shooting a man on the street in the middle of New York in broad daylight is absolutely okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't agree with that thought process. This guy could have thought of different ways. He had the education. He could have probably created a group to try to overturn certain, things like that, start if he was really into politics. But instead, he wanted to make a statement. And the statement, it got people talking about it, but at the end of the day, it's probably going to be forgotten immediately because, like, at the end of the day, that's how it happens. Yeah, people are going to talk about it on social media, and you think, well, it's making a wider conversation. The only reason why it's a wider conversation is because it brings clicks and views. It's not going to actually change the legislation, and if it does bring a new law into about it, it'll die silently without anyone noticing it. I've seen that before.
Well, and if this is your protest, this is terroristic protesting.
Yeah, I don't agree with them.
I 100% agree with you. I don't either. I mean, this is what terrorists do.
Yeah.
And he's no different.
I mean, I don't know, but he is innocent until proven guilty. I mean, obviously, I think when you're found with the gun, a silencer, and the same ID that was used in the hostel, and also they have a picture of you at the Starbucks, and you're wearing the same type of clothes that's in the Starbucks, it's going to be a pretty tough defense. Is it defendable? Probably not. But he will have a defense if he doesn't say anything and if he keeps his mouth shut. We'll see what the trial is. I think, though, honestly, I don't think he's going to say that's not him. I think he's going to come up with another, if he was a guy that wants attention, like he created a YouTube channel apparently that said if he gets caught and it shows him holding up a McDonald's box or something.
They said that was not him.
You're saying that was not him? Okay.
That was not him.
A lot of people were saying that was him.
On Icked Mill, they YouTube legal put something up on X.
Okay. All right, that's good. So that wasn't him.
No.
Thank you for that correction. Can be no jury. You could do jury nullification actually in this type of case. But the fact is, don't believe a word out of YouTube. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know. It's odd. But they did get rid of that channel with the quickness.
And my question is this. He went to school for this. I mean, he literally went to the University of Pennsylvania, which is right on Old City here in Philly. And he got a master's in this field. He could have gone and maybe, go against the system, go into a field where he can go against this and, fight against this. Why go and kill somebody? I mean, for real.
I think, unfortunately, he probably wanted to make a statement, and this is the statement he wanted to make. And he, honestly, I wonder, the one thing I contemplate is if he took all these things to cover up who he was. He had the mask on while he was in the hostel. He had a 3D printed gun. He had, it looked like he was trying to conceal himself. But what's really odd is why did he not get rid of the clothes, get rid of the ID?
He did.
Yeah,
he did. They found his clothes.
Yeah, but didn't they say he had the same clothes with him when he was caught?
I thought they said they found his clothes. He had discarded them in New York.
Know.
His clothes were found in the book bag.
Yeah.
They were interesting. Okay.
They were in the book bag.
Oh, so he switched. Okay, so maybe I took that wrong then. He switched clothes, but they were found with him. They found him with the clothes, is what you're saying. I gotcha.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh no, the book bag was discarded.
The book bag was discarded with Monopoly money. Let me just look. They found one jacket in the backpack. That's it. Okay, thank you.
Gotcha.
Let me just get this thing because I'm confused. Let me see.
All right, I'm gonna push play.
CEO assassin.
Luigi Nicholas Mangione.
Luigi Mangione is from a wealthy Maryland family. He was valedictorian at his graduation from a $40,000 a year private school with a carnation in his buttonhole.
It's been an incredible journey, and I simply can't imagine the last few years with any other group of guys. Thank you.
He is now a data engineer with a degree from the University of Pennsylvania. This is a muscle-bound Mangione working at an office in Honolulu where he last lived. He is 26 years old and was arrested in a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, 100 miles east of Pittsburgh, and held at this local police headquarters.
He is believed to be our person of interest in the brazen, targeted murder of Brian Thompson, CEO of United Healthcare, last Wednesday in Midtown Manhattan.
A McDonald's employee recognized the grinning suspect from the surveillance camera images seen around the country. That employee then called 911. Police say he had a gun, a silencer, fake IDs, and what is described as a manifesto. That manifesto reportedly says of healthcare executives, those parasites had it coming. And I do apologize for any strife and trauma, but it had to be done. This is one of the fake IDs found on Mangione. It's said to match the one used by the killer to check into a hostel in Upper Manhattan. He is said to be a big admirer of the Unabomber Ted Kaczynski, responsible for a 20-year mail bombing campaign. Police say when he was busted at the McDonald's, he was carrying a gun he made himself with a 3D printer. His family owns 2 country clubs in Maryland.
Oh, yeah, they got that money. They got that dough. They'll have a good lawyer for him.
And is this a clue to an alleged motive? It's an image on Mangione's social media showing an X-ray of 4 pins in a spinal injury. It's unclear whether Mangione is the patient. The breakthrough in the case came as police divers continued to search a lake in New York Central Park for items dumped by the assassin. A backpack believed to have been worn by the killer was found in the park Friday night. It contained clothing and, of all things, wads of Monopoly money. Former FBI agent Jennifer Coffindaffer believes the assassin.
Here we go with her. How the fuck they get her ass in there to fucking
That lady.
Oh my God.
That lady is.
We're done.
So I wanted to ask this of B. Tim. I thought this was ironic. Tell me if you think it's ironic as well. He was against corporate America, yet found in McDonald's.
Yeah, well, listen. Is the McRib back? I'm joking. That was a joke. Maybe that's why he went there. No, I think he was very
back.
The McRib is back.
Actually, it is back.
Yeah, maybe that's why he went in there. The McRib is back for a limited time offer, and he wanted it before going to jail. I mean, like,
He
listen,
said, "Fuck! Before I do life in prison, let me get a goddamn Big Mac."
Yeah, but he had a ton of money on him too. Not just Monopoly money. He had a ton of cash.
Like real cash. Yeah,
$8,000 in cash.
Yeah, I would say that most likely. I mean, like he went to Starbucks before planning to kill a person. Like, just saying, if you're doing all this planning and you don't even bring a fucking thermal, like like one of those containers for coffee or a mug. You don't bring a mug full of coffee or something. You decide to walk into a Starbucks with surveillance cameras all over.
Well, that's the other thing. He's at Starbucks. You're so against corporate America, yet you're shopping and giving your money to all these places. I'm pretty sure there's some irony here that we need to work through.
Well, it's just
stupidity.
It's just kind of like a classic, I mean, I would say, but I would say that his decisions, I think he didn't want to get caught, but he made a lot of mistakes because, obviously they do all the time. It's always the little mistakes that add up, and he thought he was pretty clever with leaving his backpack with the Monopoly money. And he thought he was pretty clever covering his face constantly, but he made mistakes. He went into the Starbucks. He went into the car. He never actually, disguised himself, really. I mean, like if you're doing something like this in the Midtown, you're going to probably should have disguised. You probably should have shaved his freaking eyebrows and maybe like put some contacts on or something. You know what I mean? That would have helped him out to be less likely to be identified, color the contacts. But he thought about pretty much, and also I would say like after you leave, probably shouldn't be walking around the mask so people can recognize you like that. But yeah, he made a lot of mistakes because this is his first crime. He made those mistakes. So was that. So luckily he did, because now he's going to do life. I think he's probably, and if they didn't find the clothes on him, then as a jury, I think you can probably have a defense on this with the IDs and the gun. But if they test that gun and it's the same gun that killed that man, he's done for. There's going to be no defense for him. He's going to, he's probably going to have to think of another defense.
I might go for the insanity if I were him.
No, you can't just say insanity. He planned out the events. You can't say insanity.
It was a term of insane. It wasn't just a day. It was like a week and a half. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what kind of defense you can possibly come up with.
I think he's going to come up with a batshit crazy defense. I think it's going to be
like
what? I'm thinking like the Law and Order type of defense. Like I'm thinking like the TV show defense right now. Like I'm thinking like the Law and Order defense where like self-defense because I believe that this person's going to kill people by denying or something. Some wackadoo crazy defense to make a statement, to make like the courtroom into a circus. That's what I think his defense is, because they have the gun, they test it, it matches with the guy getting shot, and then it matches with like they got the ID, they got the eyewitness at the hostel that they can identify, they got that. It's pretty much there's really no defense that like Lilani Simon had less on her and she was convicted. You know what I mean?
So where will he be housed then? Will he be housed in the same place that Diddy is?
Oh, let me see. Oh, wait. You know what? Someone's actually correcting me. Kenny, how are they going to tell BTL? I'm not sure you can get rifling marks off plastic. Oh, so they can't match the bullets? Like, so I'm pretty sure the bullets he had would be matching the gun, right? They can't match a ghost gun with I did not know that. If that's the case, then
that's crazy. I figured they'd be able to match the bullets to that gun. Give me 1 sec. Brainworms member for 5 months. Thank you for being here, Miss KDK. Gifted 10 memberships. Thank you for gifting those, Miss KDK. If you guys got one, make sure you tell her thank you. And Southern Ish gifted 5 memberships as well. Make sure you guys tell her thank you. I appreciate y'all showing love. Tara, thank you for being a member for 7 months. She said Lights could be Ellie's biggest lead. Oh, is that you're talking about from before? And then KNS gifted 10 memberships as well. Please make sure you guys tell them thank you.
Okay, so it says here, matching ghost gun to murder is extremely difficult because the ghost guns lack serial numbers, making them nearly untraceable, but investors can still attempt to link them through ballistic analysis by comparing the bullets fired from the crime scene to test rounds from recovered ghost gun parts, or by examining unique manufacturing marks. Okay, so
did you see the picture of him that they got? I think he wet his pants. I mean, I don't think it's going to take much. I think they're going to push on him a little bit, and I'm not kidding. Like, I think he literally wet his pants.
I think he did. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he wet his pants, but it was.
Did you see the picture? He did pee himself. What Renee said, yeah, it looks like it.
Not really surprised.
I don't think it's going to take much once they get him in the box. I think he's going to crack.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Renee, I thought so too. I thought it was pee.
He probably spilled the soda. Yeah, probably the soda.
He probably spilled his drink. Which photo? It's out there. It's probably on X.
Oh, he could have switched parts. Maybe. I don't know, man. I don't know. Anyway, I got a skedaddle, Queen. I got a skedaddle dash and wishful thinking.
I'm hopping down too. Sorry.
No problem. I'm going to skedaddle because I got work tomorrow. All right.
BTM, I have a question for you.
Oh, before I jump down, what's the question?
I had a question for you. Do you think that he's going to get all these girls and guys sending him a lot of money and stuff like they do with Chris Watts and them?
10 times more.
Yes.
I thought so too. Well, I'm going to jump down too.
Because there's already women in this chat that are thinking like, ooh, you know, just saying. But anyway, I'll see you guys. I got to get down. See you, Queen. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
We'll see you later.
Thank you, Queen, for letting me come up. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, love. I know we've been on here about 2 hours. I got to get off here anyways because I know Toasty's live and we've already went over like a half hour or something. So I appreciate you guys hanging out and thank y'all for being here. I appreciate you coming up and joining the conversation, Tia. You guys have a good night. I will catch y'all on the flip side, or I will visit with y'all on Discord. I'll see y'all around. Catch you on the flip side. If you guys want to, head on over to Toasty's. That's where we're going to all go. Bye, everybody.